Ron is here.
Oh.
Ron Jeremy is here. And Brian Regan is here.
In the same room.
Yeah. They're both just...
Don't let them touch.
They're just
the universe will end.
They're just both looking at the ceiling, whistling.
So, what do you do for a living? Oh, that's great. That's good. No, whatever, That's nice.
All of a sudden,
I tell jokes.
All of a sudden, he just picks up his phone awkwardly, see if he has a text message.
Oh, someone's calling me. Someone's making a phone call. I better answer this promptly.
So what do you do?
Is that what you said you did for a living? 'Cause, no, that's, I guess every job is good as long as you're working.
Oh, my God. Will people please listen? In studio, two friends of the show. Living very different lives.
To say the least.
We got Brian Regan over here. The Brian Regan.
Hey.
The porn star. Yeah. And we got Ron Jeremy, the very, very funny comedian over there. Well, what happened?
Well, no, you got the bios.
Oh, what? What happened?
No, you got them in the wrong order over there.
Really? I pulled on my pants. People laugh hysterically.
They cry. Please.
Yeah, they cry. What are you going to do with that?
What?
Have you guys ever met before?
No, man.
No, we're
the
lovers.
First time.
Made a film, Romeo and Julio. No, I'm kidding. Have we met before?
We have not, but it's a pleasure to meet
nice
you,
man.
man.
Nice to meet you. Same here.
Yeah.
You ever seen Ron's work? Any of Ron's work?
Yeah, we've got the video library at home, and sit down with my wife and kids.
Hey, I'm honored.
The wife and kids. It's like a Disney movie.
I'm honored to be in the comedy film The Aristocrats. I'm in the
Yeah.
I'm in the DVD. I did a poem. Penn Jillette approached me to do a poem for it, and I actually lasted in the actual movie up until Sundance. Then he had to cut me out and put me in the DVD because he said we couldn't cut the poem down. We had to keep it as is, so I was in the DVD, not in the movie.
So you're in the extras.
Cool. Yes.
On the DVD.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called "'Twas on a Lovely Day" by Ron Jeremy.
And I'm sure it could not be spoken on your standard radio.
Oh, yeah. I have to be stopping every 2 seconds. Yeah. Actually, a lot of it could be said. Yeah.
I bet not. But you got a book though. You wrote a book.
Yeah. It's right now it's doing really well. It's at Barnes and Nobles. It's at the Virgin Megastores. We had a big signing over at the Virgin Megastore over in Union Square.
Yeah.
A lot of people showed up. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to see you.
Story of my entire life.
Legend.
Yeah.
What made you? The interesting thing is, I've been watching you since like the early '80s. Like Dorothy LeMay. I'm like an old school porn freak. But like, what point did you realize like you were gonna?
I like how you looked over. I'm sorry. I like how you looked over at Brian. Like, right, Brian?
Like Brian.
Jimmy just made an expression like he goes, "I'm an old school porn freak," and he looks at Brian and nods his head with his eyes open real wide, like, "Right, Brian? Right,
Brian.
Me and you, old school porno freaks."
If anyone in the room knows what I'm talking about, it's Brian
Regan.
You saw Taboo too? Huh?
Yeah, Taboo too.
Made me want to write a book.
No. At what point did you realize like when you're working with John Holmes and all those guys that you're going to become probably the biggest name that business has ever seen? I mean, it's like what point do you go from just being a guy who's getting laid on film to all of a sudden like, wow, I'm the biggest porn star in the history of the business?
The cult thing when Jay Leno and different people make jokes about you on TV. Rock stars put you in their albums and in their songs, like Sublime did, Tommy Lee did.
Yeah, but how did that happen? Is what Jimmy's getting at. It could have been anybody.
It's from just looking from doing mainstream work, not just doing porn. From doing like 12 music videos. I did a rap song. It was on Billboard 27 weeks. You guys know about that. And things like just that make you more known in the mainstream media than just doing porn. Doing the John Bobbitt movie, for example, it was huge, worldwide news. And then the Divine Brown film, we called it a doc-Hugh drama because of Hugh Grant. So things like that get you out there in the public. And being an average-looking guy, getting lucky, created a certain attention as well. You see the gorgeous scene when you're a kid, you see the football player, the lead captain of the football team gets the cheerleader. Mm-hmm. Then you see me with these gorgeous girls. It's like, hey, hope for all of us.
You were like the name that everybody kind of used as the generic porn star name. If you needed to have the generic porn star name, that if you weren't into porn, you would just say, "Oh, that Ron Jeremy."
Well, John Holmes
you just
first,
knew it.
right?
John Holmes was that name, yeah. If you needed that,
he died on my birthday. That's bizarre, huh?
Really?
Yeah, he died March 12th. Yeah.
What? 83, 88?
Exact dates I don't know. No, but it was So the thing that's Yeah, so things like that. So otherwise, I would just be another Peter North or Tom Byron or Randy West. It's doing the mainstream stuff and some cult films, like the film Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
It was so huge in colleges that 20th Century Fox picked
The movie's
it up
great.
5 years after it was released. I'm in that film.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it because I look a little different, but that's a huge film. And Orgasmo, the South Park film.
Yeah.
These are cult films in colleges.
Right.
So that's my biggest audience.
Okay.
And that's it, but does it, not just the porn.
Jimmy tells a little story about you.
Oh,
from the
boy.
porn
I love
awards.
that story.
Yeah, I've told it in front of him.
Yeah, but
Wow.
we've never gotten both you guys in the same room at the same
Look at some
time.
of the quotes in my book. Drew Carey, Sarah Silverman. There's so many comedians have done Ron Jeremy jokes, and I love them. I mean, Drew's is funny, a bit insulting. Drew Carey says, Brad Pitt, I heard, is endowed. That's just not fair. You should either be good looking or have a big one, not both. Look at Ron Jeremy. That's fair. And Sarah Silverman used to say, she has it on her comedy album, because why does Ron Jeremy, do things with his pinky in the air?
Yeah.
He's a classy guy. And I have a lot of you made a great routine. Eddie Murphy did a routine about me doing and George Lopez, me kissing myself, that kind of thing. In Comic Relief, do you guys see the latest Comic Relief?
I heard you were the subject of quite a bit of...
5 times they made jokes about me right there in the audience. Robin Williams did it twice.
Yeah.
So that stuff is what makes you, and the more that happens, and it's like the more famous you get, the more famous you get.
And
the
you
more
become
famous you
part of
get.
the mainstream,
Right.
even though you're...
It's a vicious cycle that
Right.
feeds itself.
But also, you're very eloquent. I mean, you when you do get interviewed, you know how to speak, which probably a lot of the porn stars
I
aren't
have,
that good at that.
I have 6 years of college and a master's degree and 2 BAs, so people are surprised to hear that. I could have been a doctorate 20 years of graduate school.
Damn.
You just decided, screw it.
Yeah.
Literally. Quite literally.
I said, I got to do something else, because if I would just stay as a teacher, Jim Norton is not going to do Ron Jeremy jokes. And so I had to
Yeah.
Were you impressed with Jim?
that's funny. We had a great time. He held in there. He held in strong.
Well, we got to explain this because there's a lot of people that have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy got to play with the pros one night.
That. It's a true story.
In 2004, after I co-hosted the AVN with Jenna Jameson and
Brian, earmuffs. Earmuffs over there.
Brian's done the same thing. Stop.
Anyone who knows Jim Norton, any wives or girlfriends, please cover your ears. Continue.
And Dennis Hoff, who owns the Bunny Ranch, is a mutual friend of ours. So I walk up to Dennis's room, and Ron is with a girl. And I have to be careful how I say this. And Ron invites me.
Not just with a girl.
He's with a girl.
It's on.
He's doing what he should be doing with a girl.
Right, it's on. And you just walk in, and it's no problem because it's...
Because they're holding hands.
Yeah.
That's what you do with
Exactly.
a girl.
Oh,
No, you know what it was? She was choking, and he was Heimlicking her. He was helping her.
very radio savvy.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, man," and we're talking, and he goes, "I think she needs," and he implies that I should jump on the other end and make the letter H.
Nicely done.
And he complimented me.
Wow.
Yeah, he complimented me.
That's a nice compliment from Ron Jeremy.
He held in there. He was doing good. And then I did it to goof around with him. I did a couple of bolts, jolts, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. He did.
Just to mention.
Oh, yeah, because you do a bit about that. And it is so funny.
I'm here. He's doing the President Clinton definition of sex, not really sex.
Not really.
I'm doing the real sex.
Yep.
And I'm doing an extra, giving a few bolts once in a while to watch Jim Norton jump.
Just to scare Jim a little bit.
I affect her, who affects him.
Right. It's like a shock wave that is sent through. Right.
And how did Jim? How'd you explain it? The punchline.
There's no way to do it on. Let me think. I can't do it on regular radio. I can do it on XM.
A man can affect another man's sex life, is how you said it, right?
No. But the implication that you're an impressive boy. There's no way to get it on regular radio. Oh. I tell the story as it happened, completely true. It's the greatest sexual thing ever because it was just to be involved in that. Let's just say a shish kebab with Ron Jeremy. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
No more famous guy to do it with.
Yeah. To just sit there eye to eye.
It's like skateboarding with Tony Hawk, that kind of thing.
It's a little better than that.
It's like fantasy baseball camp or something.
Fantasy porno league. All right.
A-Rod pitched to me. I should have said a pitcher for the joke.
Well, yeah.
Well, then when it came time for the happy ending, one of us had to duck. Can we say that on radio?
I bailed out. I was such a coward in my suit, holding my hands on my hips, trying to be brave while Dennis snapped pictures. There's photos of it, too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Wow.
Which website can we see this?
Eatabullet.com.
And the book, it goes through what periods of your life?
Don't you love that title?
Everything?
Hardest man, working in parentheses, hardest man in showbiz. It goes from the very beginning, from, for me as a child, it mentions things that, a lot of things besides porn. My parents both being, veterans of wars. My mother was a spy during World War II.
Really?
Her picture's in there, and her trench coat. She was in the OSS. She was a cryptographer, a decoder. She spoke many languages after graduating college at age 19, so she worked for the war, became a lieutenant. My dad said that's why he married her, to screw an officer. That was his deal. But he was a sergeant in the war. And then I had a cousin who died as a hero, got the Purple Heart and stuff in the Battle of the Bulge. A lot of that stuff's in there. An uncle who was a gangster, who was a partner for Bugsy Siegel. Also related to the Greengrass family, which people know here in New York. Barney Greengrass, Sturgeon King, his relative. So a lot of stuff like that's in there. And then, of course, a lot of interesting stories about celebrities. Some of the biggest names in Hollywood, and some fun, salacious, scandalous, sexy stories. And the thing is, I really emphasize saying that they were single at the time. So nobody could say I outed them or ratted them out. And I didn't say anybody cheated. I give fun stories, but I go out of my way to say that they were single at the time.
Who's a
I
famous?
never lie about that.
Who's a famous actress that you, or famous Hollywood regular person that's not important that you banged?
Well, I would never say who I actually banged. I would say who I've been involved in fun situations with.
All right.
Some of the guys, some of the male stars, or I would say like some of the women I've gone out with. Like I mentioned that I've gone out with Firuza Balk. Now, I'm not saying anything sexual, but I took her to the premiere of Boogie Nights. I took her to Larry Flynt's Christmas party. Firuza Balk was Adam Sandler's girlfriend in Waterboy. She was the lead singer She was the lead of The Craft. Was on Sopranos. So I mentioned things
American History
having long
X.
conversations with Courtney Love at Larry Flynt's wedding. So there's a lot of fun stories involving a lot of big names. And some sexual, some just fun. Probably the best story in there is a story about Sam Kinison. You guys are comedians. You
Love Sam Kinison.
Yeah, of course.
Well, he died in a car accident.
Yeah.
And this is a true story, and this is one of Bill Kinison's favorite stories. And Sam, this is years ago. Sam was late for a gig at the Catch Rising Star to meet up with Robin Williams, right? It's raining out. We're discussing God because, Sam being a Pentecostal minister, me being a Jewish boy, he knew a lot about my religion as well. And he's speeding, and it's very wet out. And I said, I wish I had more proof. About the Lord above. I think he's there. I kind of think he's there. Well, he skids off the side of the highway, 20 minutes later. Car turns upside down.
You're in it with him?
Yes. Shoots down an embankment at a fast speed. Somehow miraculously avoids all the trees. Coasts to a stop in the middle of the farm, upside down. As we get out of the windows, the car sinks down. I gather my phone book first. We're picking glass off of our bodies. And this is his girlfriend's mother's brand new car. Cora Ugler, I think her name was. And so then the car sinks down. We're now hitchhiking a mud path. We're picking glass off of our bodies. Not one scratch, not one piece of blood, not one break, nothing. And the car was totaled. So Sam goes, "Hey, Jeremy, you believe in God now?" I said, "Sam, you go to great lengths to prove a point." then it was Carl LaBove. You know Carl LaBove?
Yeah.
Bill Kinison, who said 20 minutes later, Sam wasn't the one proving the point. Goosebumps, huh? You like that? Yeah, right. So that's one of the stories in the book,
Carl did a good joke on you, too, I remember years ago.
Yes. Which one was that again?
That's something about a diving board. That was long and bouncy.
Yes.
Diving board.
So, Brian, how you been?
I'm doing good, man.
Do you believe in God, Brian?
Well, I just slid in a car upside down, so yes, I do.
That's the test.
As nice as Brian is, he probably burns black churches.
And guess what? We hitchhiked, got a ride, and we're 10 minutes late for the gig. 10 minutes late to the Catch Rising Star. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, after a car accident, they'd be 10 minutes late to a gig. Impressive.
Yeah. And Robin Williams used to actually keep Sam in a lot of shows. They were very good friends in the old days. And Robin, would tell some of the clubs that you got to play Sam, and a lot of clubs didn't want to. And Robin said, "I won't show up if you don't play him." So Robin helped him. In fact, also, Robin owned a home in the hills of Hollywood that Sam Kinison rented. This is about 18 years ago. I shot a porn film at that home. And Sam was there and watching and, hanging out there, writing some of the dialogue. And this is another wild story. And, one of the girls showed up next door by accident instead of where we were shooting in a sexy little lingerie outfit. And the house she walks into was the home of David Hasselhoff. He was doing Knight Rider before he did Baywatch. So she knocks on the door.
Before he got good.
Walks into the house. He lets her in. She goes, and she's wearing a sexy lingerie, big giant double Ds. She goes, "Is this where the porno shoot's taking place?" And Hasselhoff says, "Well, it is now." And I asked him, 18 years later at Hugh Hefner's mansion, if that really is a true story. He said, yes, it is. I said, that is great.
The Hoff. I like to call him.
Story. He told me this just about 4 months ago, because originally I had it in the book as rumored to be. But when he said to me that that's true, bingo, it's right in the book.
Now it's just, fact.
So I got a lot of stories.
There's speaking of filming pornos in certain locations, I believe radio studio once.
Oh, yeah, of course. Right here.
Exactly, that's what we're getting at.
Chair.
What, this chair?
Not the one that he used to use.
Right.
No, we did
Howie's old chair.
Yeah, and we discussed that. And again, I didn't rat that story out because when the producer of that show would call up the different companies, he would say it was a shot in the studio. So they knew this years ago. And when he also was booking the girls to be in the movie, Taylor Wayne, Tabitha Stevens, Christy Lake, he said this is a shock jock studio porn film. So they already had discussed that. But whenever I was asked about it as a courtesy to the people involved, I'd say I can't confirm or deny the existence of a movie. But then they decided to shelve it. Maybe, I guess Cabby felt bad that maybe Howard wasn't into it like he thought he was, or might affect his job at this station.
How did you get, or did you have any kind of corporate permission or anything?
Cabby, he wasn't there when we were shooting the hardcore scenes in the studio, but he was there to shoot the hardcore scenes outside the studio.
But just to open did he just say to you, hey, I'll let you in at night?
No.
And you could do that? Or was it management actually allowed this?
No, I don't know if they did or not.
Oh,
we were
good.
the impression...
Bastards, I'd hold that over their heads.
We were in the impression that the powers that be were totally okay with it and would even promote it. In fact, when they made deals with Jill Kelly's company, there were 2 price tags attached to the porn film. It'll be this much if the shock jock acknowledges that it exists, but will pay you this much 10 times if he promotes it on radio.
Yeah.
And that's why this thing was already well known. But when I was called by all the different personalities, I'd say I can't confirm or deny it while the film was being edited. Alien Ant Farm was even in the film. Some of the guys from the band. I think one of the road crew does a sex scene when the band is playing in the background. And I didn't use their music. The producer said you can use the Alien Ant Farm's music. I said, no, you can't. It's not their decision. It's the record label.
Yeah.
Say, are you nuts? Of course you can't use it. So we didn't use the music. So basically I was just telling the truth on telling what actually happened.
So where is the movie?
Well, it was edited, and then it was shelved.
It was shelved?
Was sent to a guy named Brett, and then there may be a VHS in existence. Actually, there is one that the editor held on to.
It'll end up on YouTube.
Why didn't they release it?
No, I have control over that. It never will. As a courtesy to the powers that be. We felt bad because here the performers flew 3,000 miles across the country because it was a shock jock porn film.
Yeah.
But we find out later on, after we hear him yelling at Elephant Boy for messing around in the green room, I'm going... I did a scene in the green room, and I realized he's not into it. He was not totally happy about it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, great. I even wore a Gene Simmons mask during my sex scene, my tongue sticking out of the mask, and I got Gene Simmons' permission in writing to use his mask.
Wow, how much did that cost?
Free.
Really?
I was in Detroit Rock City. I was in that movie with him. So I've known Gene many years. He hosted the Ponderosa with me, the Mr. Nude North America. I've hung out with Gene in various events.
Yeah.
What film? Oh, I dropped the name, Gene Simmons. No, but it was a big deal, this film, and it was very disappointing when we all found out that he was not into it.
Yeah.
So he
must have gotten flack from management.
Oh,
that must have just happened.
But as a courtesy to Cabby, I did say that he was not there in the actual studio during the hardcore, and we didn't use a microphone in any sex scenes. That was a strong concern of everybody because of germophobia.
Yeah.
We did shoot it on his chair though, and what I did do, I didn't say this at all on the air, but I'll say it now. We pull one joke. Me and Taylor Wayne to do a sex scene on a chair, on a towel. But then, as I'm ready to finish off, she jumps off the chair. We pull the towel off. Act like I'm going to let go right smack on the chair. And I'm going, oh, just kidding. So we did a little fake out. Thinking he was going to watch this.
Right.
And we find out later on that he was not into it, and we all felt a bit betrayed.
You could say Howie.
We felt betrayed. Howard was not into it, and we thought he was.
Why wouldn't he be? I would never care if people had sex on my chair.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool to do, man.
He yelled,
I wanted 10%, Robin. He offered nothing.
When he yelled at Elephant Boy for messing on in his green room, saying you cannot have sex inside this studio ever. I'm on the radio back in Los Angeles going, what?
Uh-oh.
We just did a porn film there, just a week ago. And I talked to Brett. Brett goes, well, he's not going to promote it. And that's great. Now we find out a little bit later that he might not even be into it. He might not even have given his permission. Staffers let us in. like at 4 in the morning, or 2
Yeah,
o'clock.
that sounds
4
like
o'clock
it.
in the morning. You know.
They're all scum. Snappers.
I don't know who they were or what. It was again Brett's one. We all walked in with him. You know, Brett was Cabby's business partner. But that's a large part of the book. You know, that discusses that.
Yeah.
And again, and I specifically say, and you can see right there in the book, it says, since Brett himself was booking talent, mentioning the studio and Howard, and was trying to sell the movie using the name of Howard, he already ratted himself out. I'm putting it in a book, but people already knew.
Yeah.
This isn't like earth.
It's not like you're breaking
And Howard
any.
admitted he had inklings and heard things about it. I never told anybody. I never confirmed it with anyone, ever. When Gary had asked, Casey had asked, you know, Stuttering John, Melrose Larry Green had all asked, I said, can't say a word. And they really said, but I got to know this. If you ever did do a film, would you use the microphone, like inserting that? I says, no. I would never in a million years do that no matter what, if I ever did direct a film, you know, so that was the truth.
What year would that have been if it ever happened?
It did happen. You know,
Yeah.
the book says it happened.
This is like the OJ interview.
If I were to make a porno movie in a radio studio.
And coincidentally, HarperCollins did that book and did my book.
Yeah.
HarperCollins dropped his book.
Yeah.
Judith Reagan. You know, that's the difference. You know, my book still exists. Well, it was, I don't remember exactly what year it was. It was right around the time, it was about a year or two before Cabby did that fight with Stuttering John in Atlantic City. About a year and a half, 2 years before that. Remember that Donald Trump?
I think his problems are a little more, a little bigger these days, cabbies anyway, than they were back then. So I think it matters.
I defended the fact that he's not the one who let us in, and he was not in the studio at the time. He is in the movie. He does do sex scenes, but they're at a hotel with Taylor Wayne and in a warehouse that I made look like the studio, like just pacing back and forth. You can see clearly in the film it's not the studio.
Really?
It could look like a studio. So so that's in all fairness to Cabby. He was not actually in the studio.
I broke in here late at night and had sex on all these chairs.
You
By
did.
yourself.
I knew it.
Alone.
Brian,
Late at night.
you're an animal.
Did you wear the Gene Simmons mask?
And he did use the microphone.
I had the Gene Simmons mask on, the whole kit and caboodle.
The whole deal.
You know, one of my first pornos that I was addicted to, that I was like that I saw it at my friend's house, and I actually had to go into the bathroom by myself. I was so blown away by it. Was actually a scene that Ron was in. It was you were a piano teacher, and there was 2 girls. One had braces, and it was a Swedish erotica film. And
I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember that one.
The one with the braces, I for 20 years have been just in more than that, 25 years. She's fantastic. Those 2 girls, that scene, it's amazing how the early day porn stuff just sticks with you, the stuff that turns you on originally.
I love his review, though.
The girls are better looking
I
now.
had to go to the bathroom immediately. Right. It's an amazing film.
He's an Indian boy, and I was laying on his parents' bathroom mat in the bathroom.
Are you kidding, really?
Oh, no, I wish I were.
You know how like in the paper they have to have like an icon to show the review. They put a picture of a bathroom door closed.
Yeah, close. Or a guy really running with the like streak marks off him, like he's got to run to the bathroom. And then maybe if it's not that good, he's just like the sulking kind of guy, just walking slowly to the bathroom.
But did I play good piano, Jim Norton?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
the voices were.
Are you a
I
pianist?
play very good piano. Good
Yes.
piano, violin, harmonica. It's funny, though. You could tell the films from the early days because what? The first
video.
The first thing you notice about old porn, like the early 80s.
A lot of hair.
That's number one. A lot of hair. And also, you notice that the girls are really into it then a lot. I mean, they are now, too. The girls are much better looking today. I mean, you look at the girls they have today, the Jessie Janes, the Janine Lindwellers, the, Jenna Jamesons.
The more ordinary-looking girls
Yeah,
back
back-
Yeah,
then.
they're not really doing it for drugs anymore.
Yeah. Not like the good old days.
Yeah, right.
I need rent money. Oh, you.
It's true.
Yeah,
Now the girls are pulling in $1 million. Back then it was more like a hippy-dippy, fun, revolutionary, against the Vietnam War, Woodstock kind of attitude. And now it's big business for the girls.
Against the war? All right, open your mouth.
Yeah. Now there's acting involved.
Don't go to Vietnam. Eat this instead. Yeah.
They're too perfect now. A lot of the girls they're too perfect.
The lighting's too perfect.
Too
The women are
perfect.
too perfect.
I like some of the old days. Some of the
You
weird.
need a little skank.
Yes.
Just a little. Want to hear a really fast, great Dennis Hop story in the book? Real quick.
Yeah, hurry up, 'cause we gotta take a break.
I was at the original Woodstock when I was 16 years old. I was there for half an hour because, you know, I was working in the Catskills as a waiter, like all good Jewish boys. So Fred Durst invited me to introduce him at the new Woodstock many years later. And last minute they canceled me. They were using Mini-Me instead, Vern Troyer. I was so depressed. I was going to face 250,000 kids and go, please welcome Limp Bizkit. So I got canceled. And everyone thought they were going to see me on the show. So Dennis Hoff, for the next year, had all the little Bunny Ranch girls call me on the phone like every week saying, Ronnie, I'm real horny and I want to do you. Oh, Mini-Me's here. Gotta go. He'd put, whenever I did like a talk show with him at some studio in Hollywood, he'd have my star taken down and put the name Mini-Me instead. So I'd eat at a restaurant and pick up my cup and saucer, Mini-Me's place setting. You know, he was on my case for one full year about that.
Yeah, but it paid off and all the free sex he probably got you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so the book, Ron Jeremy, the hardest working man in showbiz, but working is in parentheses, obviously.
I read like 8 pages, and honestly,
it's a good read.
It's
yeah,
really good.
Absolutely.
And great pictures. A lot of great photos of some of the biggest stars in Hollywood are in there.
Right. You're going to sell a lot of these.
Yeah, I think
Thanks,
so.
guys.
Are we promoting anything besides that? Surreal Life?
I'm on the Surreal Life Fame Games, which you can see on every Sunday and Thursdays on VH1.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of films coming out that were at Sundance that hopefully will do real well. So.
All right. Very good. Ron Jeremy, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to Brian Regan next. It's the Opie and Anthony Show.